Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the CannaList Conversations. We're here with Michael, whose last name I'm not even going to try to kill. Michael, welcome.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. It's Michael Zaytsev, but people call me Mike Z
Okay.
exactly for that reason.
Yeah, there's too many, yeah, that just wasn't going to happen. So Michael, you are the academic director of the cannabis programs at LIM College. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we are launching the first bachelor's and master's degree programs in the business of cannabis here in New York State, and actually some of the first cannabis degree programs in the world.
And obviously, there's a lot going on in New York. There's a lot of activity with the recent passing of adult use. What's it like to be on the ground there?
Yeah, so it's really exciting, and at the same time, it's frustrating and concerning. The excitement is obvious. I think a lot of people, including myself, have been working towards this and waiting for this for many years. And so it's great to see that licensure is happening. The regulations should be out any day now. And, we're excited to see stores open. And I think it's going to be really good for the economy here, and also to see New York brands and to see New York cannabis get the credit it deserves. But on the flip side, there's a lot of concern as far as how inclusive and equitable the industry will actually be here, and whether or not policymakers and regulators are actually going to learn from the mistakes of states that have come before us. I think there's a lot of concern right now that, there might not be a lot of opportunity for the mom and pops or the legacy entrepreneurs, and that instead it will be all big corporate cannabis. And, if that is the case, that would be a shame, because, there's all these people who have made their livelihood in the illicit market, and they deserve, in my opinion, to participate in the legal market and have a fair chance at a sustainable business.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the challenges is that folks underestimate what it means to launch a cannabis business, the costs associated with it, and the timing. Just because the legislation is passed does not mean that the market opens tomorrow. And what we've also seen is, even with the restorative justice programs, there's still a tremendous capital requirement in order to launch, a retail operation or something along those lines. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. You're right. It's not only does it require a lot of startup capital, but it's also, I think a lot of people forget that this is a highly regulated business or an industry, and the cost of compliance is significant from an operational standpoint, also from, paying a legal team, or having the right accountant, and actually making sure that your corporate governance is really done at a high level, which I think a lot of startup entrepreneurs, whether it's in cannabis or any other industry, that's usually not where they have the most acumen and experience. And in the cannabis industry, it's especially important to get those things right. And I think when you combine all of that with the fact that there's also an extremely sophisticated and robust illicit market in New York, that you're going to have to compete against one way or another. I think a lot of people maybe don't appreciate just how difficult an industry this is. And, it's great to give, the groups that are deserving of the opportunity and of restorative justice, it's great to give them a leg up as far as getting a license, but that's really not enough support. That's not really enough to help someone create a sustainable business and have a chance at creating generational wealth. And so, I have a lot of concerns. I think from what I hear from the community, that there's a lot of concerns that even though, we will have adult use up and running next year, will it actually work? I think that remains to be seen, because as we look at California and other markets, there's been a lot of turmoil. There's been a lot of people who came in with great intentions and even great experience, but were not able to sustain or thrive because of the regulations and the difficulty of competing with, big corporate cannabis.
Yeah, I mean, in California, the thing that we're hearing is the taxation, right? So that, and you couple that with the lack of the federal level, right, which causes, even more problems on the taxation side, the 280E, those types of problems. So how does the college program fit into all of this?
Sorry, I missed that question. You said how those.
The program that you're developing for the college, how does that sort of fit into this and support all that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, where the college sees a big opportunity and why we're ultimately getting into this space is because there's a huge gap in the workforce, right? So here in New York, the expectation is something like, from the governor's office, something like 60,000 plus cannabis jobs will be created in the next few years. And I personally think that's a low estimate, but you're going to have these thousands of businesses get started. You're going to have these thousands of jobs come to the state. And where are they going to get trained, skilled workers? Where are they going to get people who have, a baseline knowledge of cannabis that's standardized, that's up to, the regulations, that's cutting edge and up to what is known by industry professionals? Traditionally there hasn't been anywhere to get that kind of education or resources. And so part of what we're hoping to do with this program is to close that gap. And so I've been really excited that some of the faculty members we're bringing in, everyone who's going to be teaching in our cannabis programs is an active entrepreneur in the cannabis industry with many years of experience in the industry. And so we have, just a few people I can mention. For example, Dashita Dawson, who after a successful career in corporate America became a cannabis entrepreneur and is now the regulator for the city of Portland in Oregon. We have Jesse Horton, who will be teaching a class on cultivation and manufacturing. He's built a multi-million-dollar cultivation brand out in Oregon. We have attorneys here in New York that have worked for MSOs, that have been in advocacy on the grassroots level, that have seen multiple facets of this industry. So, we're going to bring these really high quality industry leaders to come teach, and not only teach, but also develop the courses to make sure that when students graduate from LIM's cannabis program, they're going to have enough knowledge to start on day one at their cannabis job and be able to add value. Now, also, I should add, for our undergrad program, we require at least 3 internships. So all of our students in the cannabis program will be graduating with at least a handful of cannabis industry experiences under their belts, so that, when they are joining the industry, it's not starting from scratch, which has often been the case when people have come from other industries into cannabis.
And is there a sort of a single track, or is there a multiple track where like one is towards cultivation, where one is towards retail? What is the plan?
Yeah, so our programs are in the business of cannabis. And so it's a single focus or track. And really where we're trying to fit in, there's other schools that are going to do cultivation focused or chemistry and extraction focused. We're really focused on the business side of things. And specifically, in my conversations with cannabis employers, from MSOs to startups, what I've heard repeatedly is, we have people that either have cannabis acumen or cannabis experience, but not a lot of business knowledge, or we have people who have a lot of business acumen, but don't have much cannabis education. And so what we're really hoping to do is to, provide our graduates with both, so that when they can, enter the workforce, they'll already have a really good cannabis education and also business acumen, so they could be in those management type roles, and help companies scale. So just to give a quick background, LIM College, before launching these cannabis programs, really specialized in the business of fashion. And what we saw was that, when you look at supply chain management, retail operations, merchandising and visual marketing, branding, all this kind of stuff that have been really great at preparing our students to succeed in fashion, all of those skills are necessary in cannabis as well. You're just dealing with different products.
And then, so when they graduate, what kind of degree do they have?
Yeah, so the undergraduate degree is a BBA, Bachelor's of Business Administration, and the master's degree is an MPS, which is a Master's of Professional Studies. And so the undergrad degree is, like a very standard 4-year degree in business. And outside of the cannabis focus, you're going to have all your standard general education requirements, all your core business classes, your finance and accounting and all that stuff. And on top of it, you're going to get, highly specialized cannabis industry coursework. And the master's degree program is a 1-year fully online program. And that's really designed for people who are career switchers or just want to get into cannabis or transition into the industry, or for people who are in the industry and want to have that, formal education so they could advance and either rise in the ranks or go to bigger companies where, sometimes you need that higher ed degree to be able to assume a leadership role.
And is the online program part-time, full-time? What is that?
So there's flexibility in all our programs, but to complete it in a year, I'll be honest, I don't know how to answer it because I'm not sure when you say full-time. I wouldn't call it full-time, because I think our expectation is that people who are enrolled in the master's program will be working, will still be, they will still have plenty of time to pursue their career or other interests. So I'm not sure how to answer that question, unfortunately.
And when they graduate, what is the college going to do sort of from a continuing education and support perspective?
Yeah, it's a great question. So one thing that is really unique about LIM, and one of our really big strengths, is our career and internship services office. And all of our alum get lifetime access to all of our career resources, including career coaching. And so, as we have new cannabis employers and opportunities through the college, our alum will always have access to that. In addition to that, we do a bunch of virtual events that are, not for credit, but, anyone can come and watch a master class or a panel or speaker series, things of that nature, so you could stay abreast of what's going on in the industry. Yeah, so as far as today, that's what we have planned. And I'm sure that once we launch and have more students and more support, and more industry partners, I think we'll likely be able to offer more.
And will this start in the fall, or when will this be launched?
Yep, we're starting this fall with our first cohorts, and it'll be this September, to be specific. And so, there's still time to apply. So if anybody listening is so inclined, you can do so at limcollege.edu/cannabis, where you could find all the info about our faculty, the courses, and whatever other questions you may have.
Well, Michael, we very much appreciate you visiting us today. We are excited about the program, obviously something the industry needs. We will make sure to include the link below so folks can find it and figure out how to join. Is there a cutoff as to when you're accepting applications?
Yeah, so we are a rolling admission school, and so I don't believe, well, I know there is a cutoff. I don't know the exact answer, but
Okay.
in the chance that someone doesn't get their application in for the fall, we're gonna have more cohorts starting in the spring and then after. So, but I would certainly encourage people, if they're thinking about it, to sign up sooner rather than later, because I think there is a chance that we will be full. And so, if you have to wait several months to get started, it might not be the best thing in the world for your career. But, that being said, this will be the first of many in the fall.
Great. Well, again, Michael, we appreciate your time. We will include that link, and we look forward to interviewing your graduates.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.